some of our laws work against that. You know, you just can't stop somebody you think is transporting drugs from maybe Key West to the Miami area on I-75. You just can't stop them anymore.
Well, no, you're right. That's a violation of the Fourth Amendment.
Yeah, right. So you can't do that. So how would you stop the drug trade?
Well, it's based on investigations and probable cause. And it's very easy. It's a matter of flipping a lot of people. Human intelligence is the crux of law enforcement. Locally, or I mean, lately, in the past decade or so, we've seen a lot of these TV shows where they have a handheld device that pretty much solves every crime within 30 minutes, right? There's nothing further from the truth. Knowing your people, talking to your people on the streets, getting information. When we make an arrest of a street-level sale, talking to the individual that's there, working collaboratively with prosecutors, whether it be the state attorney, the office of the statewide prosecutor, or the Middle District of Florida, the federal prosecutors. Often we are able to arrange both sanctions upon the person that we've picked up for possession or for distribution or trafficking, but at the same time making it where we're able to gather information from them that is vetted and concrete and then follow the supply chain back up. It's a very effective manner of law enforcement. It's not an overnight endeavor, but it's management of intelligence. It's gathering the information, using it properly, and then taking it and backtracking it. It's no different than if you were to write a check. Let's just take that for instance, at a store, and then the store cashes it at their bank, and their bank returns it back to your bank. There's a paper trail. I can follow it all the way back to the time that you let it out. Essentially, that's the same way with the drug trade. Whether it's coming out of, well, there's a major distribution point in Texas that we know about. There's a major distribution point in some of our countries in the Caribbean that we're quite aware of. And there's ways that it already comes into the county that I'm very aware of. It's, I believe, a failure of the leadership of the current administration not to use that information to stop this stuff. There's going to be an issue, if you will, as far as the, well, when supply and demand goes away, as the supply goes down, the demand obviously goes up. And with that is going to come a little bit of a hiccup in the community of which it's affected. I understand that and I know that. We'll address that as it comes in, but at the same time, we're going to reduce this trade down. The sheriff is responsible for Fort Myers and should be working with the Fort Myers Police Department hand in hand on this. I actually had tendered a document to several of the media sources here lately calling for a violent crimes task force, which would incorporate narcotics investigations in order to stop some of this stuff. And it'll be very effective. Within my first year, you'll see a significant drop in those types of crimes.
Mr. Bushong.
Yes, sir.
I've already declared for Sheriff Scott, so if you would rather I did not ask any questions, that will be fine.
I have a program called Open Star where I'm open to everybody and everything, and that's quite fine, although I'm curious that you say that representing the news press that you won't even interact with.
Well, I'm not representing the news press. I'm a citizen member.
Oh, okay, okay.
Who is sitting in on these conversations.
I got you.
And I'm representing myself. And I do have some fair questions.
I'll answer all.
The first question is about the union. Are you in favor of the union coming into the Sheriff's Department?
The union is a constitutional guarantee. Under the Florida Constitution allows and guarantees law enforcement officers the right to unionize. It's not whether I'm in favor or not. I support the law, and the law says that they can have it.
Well, that really wasn't my question, but okay.
Thank you.
The Dunbar solution. You say that the sheriff is not interested in a task force that will attempt to provide a solution to the Dunbar problem?
Have you seen the sheriff involved in the Dunbar problem? I haven't. I've spoken with the leaders of Dunbar. I'm there on the streets right now as we speak. When I'm not here talking to you fine folks or other people, you'll find me on the streets of Dunbar. Yesterday itself, I talked to two very large community leaders. Every day, this is what I'm doing. And not one of them ever has told me that the sheriff has extended any type of relief or help or assistance to them. Those are the people that are affected. We can posture, the sheriff can posture, anybody can posture at any given time saying that, oh, I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that. Show me the results. Show me the action. There's your answer.
I have an email chain, an extensive email chain. A couple of thousand people that communicate with one another with regularity, ask one another questions.
Sure.
One of the questions that popped up recently was about DWI. And it seems like the large majority of people would like to see on the first offense, on the first DWI offense, license removal for life. How do you feel about that?
This is one of those rare times where I'm actually going to address the question, although I'm not a legislator. I have no effect on what the law says or what the penalties or the sanctions are. That is far out of my purview, okay? However, I think that the way that the rules and the laws are at this current time best fit, as far as first-time offense, best fit first-time offenders. I think that a lifetime revocation is too severe for a first-time offense unless there is, let's say, personal body injury, death, or something along those lines.
So if we wait for somebody to get killed, then we can revoke it for life, but not before that.
Do you believe in rehabilitation? Do you believe in mistakes? Do you believe in the justice system and our senators and our legislatures to make the decisions for us?
It's not a question with what I believe. This is a group of a couple of thousand people who now are fed up with people getting in their cars drunk and putting other innocent people in jeopardy.
Then your thousands of people, I urge them to contact their representatives and senators and ask them to effect a change in the law.
I think they know that. I'm just wondering what your opinion is.
No, and I gave it to you. I hear what you're saying. I understand and respect your decision. Although I do believe that people sometimes make mistakes. And if they take their misdemeanor offense and they take the 6-month residence and revocation and suspension of their license, then without a serious or second offense, then okay.
Related to that, the traffic offenses, there's also the issue of distracted driving that has been up at the legislature for
Oh my
years.
goodness, yes.
And while you wouldn't have, if elected, while you had no influence over changing the law yourself, however, you'd certainly have a voice, a bully pulpit to declare some kind of policy position. What is your policy position in terms of addressing distracted driving and how it should be, how law enforcement should be monitoring or enforcing laws related to that?
I think we have to study the issue in order to make a full recommendation. Now, just as a citizen abroad, I see people texting all the time in their cars and in and out of traffic, and I agree, it is an issue. But the question then is, in order for me to take a stance, or anybody to take a stance, is to make one that is educated and informed, as in with anything else. How many of our traffic accidents result from texting and driving? I can answer the question. There's no data on it right now. Does it pose a problem? It does. Am I opposed personally to it? I am. But I think in order to make a positive stance, especially from the position as the sheriff, then I'm going to at least have to be able to be armed with how and the why of the situation or the problem in order to make an accurate recommendation. If we have 1% of accidents that are let's say involved from traffic or texting while driving, is that as big of an issue as everybody makes it? In other words, what I'm trying to say is I'm trying to represent everybody fairly and accurately. See what I'm saying?
It was brought up